Today we're going to continue in James chapter 4, and he really begins to talk on the brevity of life. He begins to talk on not only the brevity of life and the fact that our days have been numbered, but he also talks about how it is so easy for us to presume upon God. Remember, God's the one holding the calendar in life today. It says in Psalm 139, in verse 16, that he has numbered our days, that he has given us an allotted amount of days, and he has not given us the wisdom to know how many days he's given us. So we need to be very, very careful in the way that we make our plans, because God knows what we don't know concerning our days. James says it like this in chapter 4, verse 13. He says, "Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a place and spend a year there and trade and make a profit. Yet you don't even know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that. As it is, you boast in your arrogance, and all such boasting is evil. Whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, to him it is sin." He's talking about the brevity of life. You've all been to a funeral, and in most of those funerals, probably not all, but in most of those funerals, those folks did not know that you would be at their funeral that day. You probably do not have on your calendar the day of your funeral as I speak right now. God is the one who has determined when we are born and when we die. So we need to be very, very careful. When we're making plans, James is asking us to do something very simple as believers. Rather than presuming upon God and saying, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow, and this is what I'm going to do the next day, he's not saying not to plan. He's saying to plan like this. When you think of tomorrow, when you think of the next day, remember, you might not be here. God has numbered your days, and he might take you today or tonight. So rather than saying, tomorrow I'm going to do this, he says, say it this way. If the Lord wills, I'm going to do this tomorrow. Why? Because your life, he says, is just a mist. It's just a vapor. Here today, gone tomorrow. Perhaps we should join in with the psalmist in Psalm 90, verse 12, when he said, "Teach us, O Lord, to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." That we should live every day as if it's the last one that God has given us. And when we look to the future, always say this, I'm going to plan lunch with you tomorrow, and more than likely I think I'm going to be there, but only if the Lord wills, because if he does not, I will not show.